My pleasure.
Thank you. Well, flyers still have safety issues to worry about aside from Ebola. An American Airlines plane making an emergency landing after cabin walls started to buckle. And if the airlines and the FAA can't catch simple stuff like this, how are they going to do something like stop Ebola in its tracks? To Hadley Heath Manning, who says we have to wonder if the FAA is doing enough. Hadley, what more could it do?
Well, the White House has announced that 5 international airports in the United States are going to beef up screenings for people who potentially pose a risk that's Ebola related. And those screenings will be seeing about 150 people per day. So we have to ask, is this the most effective? Is it the most cost-effective way to screen passengers flying to the United States? But we also have to ask, whatever the government's action is responding to Ebola, what are the costs? And not just in terms of taxpayer dollars or private dollars, but in terms of convenience to the many Americans who rely on international travel at home.
Right.
Travel at home or abroad.
Well, and Hadley, you just think of the expertise that's needed to distinguish whether somebody actually could have Ebola. And then you look at what happened yesterday, for example, in this plane that was beginning to buckle. I mean, look at this. You actually could see the plane that you're flying in fall apart while you're still flying. I mean, I just wonder, again, I'm sure they did the best and they did avoid catastrophe on that flight, thank goodness. But at the same time, are these the folks that are going to keep Ebola out? I don't think so.
Well, interestingly, I think statistically speaking, flying is still safer than other forms of travel like driving. And it's important for travelers to know that whenever you step outside of your home, you face some inherent risks in living out your daily life. But it's important also not to overly alarm the public, whether it's Ebola or mechanical issues on planes. Know that the private industry, the airlines themselves, have an interest in protecting their flight crews, protecting their passengers, protecting the traveling public. So know that many people are working as hard as they possibly can to contain the risks, but we cannot eliminate risk from our lives.
Well, you can't eliminate risks, but you can do more to prevent people who you're not sure about whether they have Ebola from coming here. And that's what I was bringing up with the governor. Hadley, thank you very much. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
So it's not just politicians. A new poll showing that 75% of doctors support banning